final question, it's just about 8 o'clock, I want to wrap this up and then allow time if you can have individual discussions. Homdel, racing strategies for Homdel. How do you, yeah, John,
I give the kid the same speech every year. And Steve started saying it when I was nodding my head. And, it is the start. I think the bowl is really overrated. I actually think, you know, 3/4 of the bowl is fast. I mean, you fly down there, and I always tell the kids, you know, this is not a hill you want to attack. I think like Mill Creek Park, you can attack that hill. You should come right down and get a little bit of reprieve coming down. But I think races are won and lost. If you got a team or an individual that wants to do really well, or just a kid that wants to run a time, I always say between the top of the bowl and tennis courts is where races are won and lost. I mean, what you do after the bowl, I think, is real important. A lot of kids, you know, aggressively run at the bowl and then they're done. If you pass somebody aggressively after the bowl, chances are they're not going to pass you back. If you got your head on straight. Because once you get in the woods at Homdel, it's all adrenaline at that point. I don't care how tired you are. I always remember I felt great going in the woods. You know, you feel horrible coming out of the bowl, but by the time you get to those woods, you feel great. So what you do from the top of the bowl to the tennis courts, I think is real important.
Yeah. Mike?
I'd agree with that. I think you need to survive the bowl. I think you get yourself out in decent position, but you don't have to be leading the race coming out of the woods at Homdel. I think you need to run well and get yourself into position going down and into the bowl. But who comes off the bowl alive is ultimately who's going to have a good day. We've had teams wait too long and try to make their move in that final 1,000 meters in the woods, and it's difficult to pass people because everybody's making a move in that woods loop, and you'll get a few people, but you're not going to get as many people as if you had moved coming off the bowl to the tennis courts. That's a free ride, and that range, that 1,000-meter section from the top of the bowl out to the tennis courts is where you can really make up a lot of ground on people, and a lot of kids tend to fall asleep, and I'm going to recover, there aren't many fans here, nobody sees me, I can kind of lay low, and then I'm going to run the woods loop hard. Well, everybody's going to run the woods loop hard, and it's downhill, and it's turning, so you're not going to pass many people back there. And I do remember Jason DeJoseph, his senior year, I was down there at the coach's little cut throw, and Mike Lavin said, how do you feel, Jason? There was one kid with him, or somebody was nearby. Jason wasn't leading the race, he was alongside of somebody. He said, feel fine. Lavin just said, okay, go now. I mean, he was just on cruise control at Homdel, and he ran real fast, 15, 16, or whatever it was, but he was on cruise control that first mile and a half, and then he took off. He did run the uphill very hard, and then just went from there in. The last mile and a half, he was flying. It looked like he was in a half mile, honestly.
Steve, your approach to Homdel?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what those guys said, but I also think that one of the keys to racing Homdel well is mentally preparing yourself for that start, because even especially if you're a type of runner that likes to be a little more controlled in the way you run your race and like to, kind of work into it more, you can do that at Homdel, but you're not going to feel the same as you do on another course. You cannot expect to go to Homdel and get to coming out of the woods up top. What's that, about 900,000 meters in, and not be feeling some oxygen debt already. There's just, that start is just too difficult. So you have to mentally prepare yourself for that. That no matter, all right, I'm holding back, I'm conserving, but I'm still going to feel it. I'm still going to feel it. Because if you're used to going out that way, and you're used to getting to the mile and feeling pretty good still, it's just going to be a different feeling at Homdel. And if you're not ready for it, it can kind of demoralize you. So I think that's part of the process of handling it. It's just getting out decently, not overrunning the first mile, but realizing even without overrunning it, it's still going to be relatively uncomfortable for that first mile.
Yeah.